Hello, welcome back. I don't know if this is bright enough actually, but anyway, my tailbone is still hurting and I'm back outside. I am back outside. Hopefully, it's not gonna be windy like last time. It has been raining though. So today is what the 2nd of November, and I decided this is November that I'm not gonna vlog, which probably is gonna be hard, and I'm probably gonna break that promise to myself. Vlogging meaning like actually recording what I do every day, rather than this. This is not necessarily vlogging. This is just talking. Mainly because I'm also burnt out and I'm not really sure what to do with my life and how to do it. I don't know how to get about life, to be honest. I have been sleeping the past 2 days, but the problem is, even though I'm not doing anything, even though I'm sleeping, I'm not really resting. It's like it's not really restorative sleep. So when I wake up, I feel tired still. So I'm getting some sun now, so hopefully that will help somehow. Also took some vitamin D3, high dosage as usual, so hopefully that helps, and magnesium as well. But I think it is bigger than that though. I feel like last year even like it took me a while to get used to with life as it is. So like I know like people that watch this probably watch my vlogs, so um like no one's gonna listen to me for like half an hour or for 45 minutes unless you watch my other stuff. So thank you for being here. It just means you're hardcore people. But remember, this is a stranger talking on the internet, so don't forget that I'm a stranger on the internet and you are a stranger on the internet. Even though we feel like we might be familiar to each other, we still are strangers, so don't forget that. I feel like sometimes when people demand something and I'm like, hey, I don't think you should be demanding of me. Like, I'm still a stranger and it feels really weird for you to demand something out of me. I mean, for you, it's probably like a very, very, for some at least, like it's like I'm there every week or every, like, I totally get it though, because I totally went through the same experiences. It's like I feel like, oh, why are you acting as if that I've like in the past, like definitely have like a lot of parasocial relationship with streamers or with people online, thinking like, oh, we are familiar with each other, I see you every day on my page or my phone, so we are definitely close. No, they're strangers. But of course, like I was like in a very different mental space, so that's what I needed at the time. But now like my mental space is a bit sober, not because I was drinking, but because I wasn't really physically well. um I can see the difference, like, oh yeah, they don't know me. Like, don't be such a weirdo for um don't be such a weirdo for thinking that they know me. Like, they don't. They probably only see me in comments or in chats. Like, that doesn't equal knowing a person. It's just, you just exist in someone's orbit. Also, my face is not getting better, so we just have to live with this. I am living with this. It's okay. Your face is your face. Your condition is your condition. Today, it seems like my mental health is a bit stable, so I can accept this. It's a day by day thing. Sometimes I don't accept this. Sometimes I feel like my life is being ruined because I have a bad skin. But it is what it is. And again, this is not a structured video by any means. This is just me trying to use my vocal box and trying to use my voice, because if I don't, especially these days, I don't see people at all. Like in my complex for the past few years now, 3 4 years, we have this Halloween thing. And there was one yesterday, and I kind of slept it off. Like, I slept through it. I did not remember that it was on. But before that, I was practically like waiting for the event to happen. I wanted to become part of the community. I wanted to show my face so that people know that I exist. But this year, I kind of feel like I wanted to withdraw and I don't want people to know that I exist. Um, in a lot of ways, I'm kind of like withdrawing from the community a lot, mainly because I feel like the community is not there for me. Like I see them, but they don't act like how I expect them to act. And I feel like I'm putting a lot of energy and efforts into the community, but or this group that I found, but I don't really get and I don't receive anything in return, or at least what I expected to receive in return. So I feel like, oh, okay, so I don't think this should be pursued a lot further than it should because I'm not really getting anything out of it. Let's just put it that way. I'm not like I don't want to burn the bridges though because I don't want to be unfriendly at all. I just don't want to be as friendly as before. Just want to reduce the the intensity a bit, like, and the participation bit, like, just a lot, so that I don't have to. So I'm basically like trying to give what I feel like I'm receiving. So that's what I'm doing. Okay, I take back with being cool today. It still annoys me. I don't know why at 41 years old that this is still happening. And I'm feeling very. So, again, this is not a structured talk, okay? This is just me. I can't look away from the train wreck. Um, Also, it's been raining, I think. Like some drips still fall from the sky. I don't know how to process life right now. I'm not sure how to move on. I don't think I'm depressed. I I mean, like, I'm crying a lot, but I'm also like just finishing off my period, so there's probably hormones involved in there. I'm also perimenopausal, and also lately, like, I can cry knowing like I am kind of like expunging a lot of emotions and a lot of discharge, like emotional discharge, probably. But at the same time, there's a lot of dissociation happening or detachment. I'm not sure which one's which happening, which is I feel like it's just like watching something happening in motion, but even like the emotional discharge is like emotion. It's something that is happening, but there is a detachment in the back of my head watching all of this happening. I think the name is depersonalization, maybe, but I'm not a psychologist or a psychiatrist, so I'm not going to diagnose myself in that regards. I'm only going to say that, I might be autistic. That's probably as far as self diagnosis that I would go into because that's something that I feel like I have competency in, mainly because I'm living it. Um, I feel like I feel like I am watching myself, like, just lying there trying to get my head into order and trying to get my energy to order and trying to just discharge everything. If I want to feel like I'm crying, I'm just cry. And if I want to shake it off, I shake it off. But there's also this blandness. There's this, it's not numb. I don't feel numb. I still feel pain because those are what the emotional discharges, like such as crying or screaming, those are what it is. Um, so I feel stuff still, and I still fall into trauma responses a lot, like, freeze response, and I still feel like, I'm going to die because nothing is just going to come to me, no solutions going to come to me, so I still catastrophize a lot too. um but there is this sense of, I don't know if it's a big word or not, a sense of eternal, not certainty, but eternal steadiness. that is happening in the background that I didn't really have before. And I'm not really sure what to do with it because it's as if that there are two split realities happening in my body. One is very still volatile, meaning like it still has a lot of emotions attached to it, a lot of discharges, crying and scared, being fearful. And there is another reality which is absolutely steady. Nothing can touch it. Like even if I'm dying tomorrow, it can't touch it. Even when I'm going through a freeze response where my belly feel as if it feels as if it's being filled with ice, like with nitrogen ice, for example, it's cold, cold, not just cold, but like cold, cold, icy cold, like minus 40 degrees cold in my stomach, that area. And my limbs are basically non functioning and it's just so weak, as if that all the energy is being sucked out of it. And my head would be spacey and I would feel like I'm floating above my body. That's like my collapse freezing response state, which still happen these days, especially with news relating to money and housing. And that's something that's still happening. And I think it's something that is probably going to happen continually in the future because I don't particularly have a way out in my game plan. And I'm not saying that for pity, or I'm not saying that for, sympathy or garnering, trying to find solution in the people that are listening. No, no, I'm just saying that that's just what it is right now. The only thing that have changed from like last year probably is this that detachment, that the feeling of in my head, that feeling that there is two parallel realities happening right now, which is the one that is kind of there, and I feel like that reality has always been there, but now I'm just aware of it. And that reality is like me also, but me that is different from me that is actually doing the life that I'm currently doing right now on earth. I feel like that reality, if I won't do anything, even if I get tortured, even if I get, I don't know, assaulted, that reality, that person or whoever that personality is that is watching and observing my life, is not going to do anything. It's not going to change anything. Um, Even if tragedy happens to me, that person is not going to get involved as well. So it's extremely detached from a life that I'm having right now and talking to you. It's as if that is purely to observe and not to get involved at all. That said, the fact that I'm aware of its existence does make life feel a little bit different, because it makes life as if that it is definitely temporary. It's definitely like will be an end to it soon. Why is this so? Is it not dark? I don't know. So it's not like, it's not a friend, but it's also not an enemy. That reality or that personality that is watching in the background, that is extremely. And sometimes when I'm in the freeze response, when especially when I feel so out of my body, I do feel like I'm more that person, the one that is detached, the one that won't do anything to help me, basically. But of course, it only happens like a split seconds, and then I'll be back in this body again, and I'll be the one who's going through all the, um, the events of this life. Does that make me sound like I'm crazy? I don't think so. I think the presence actually makes me stabilize a lot better. And it actually, I think, maybe makes the episodes, especially the freezing episodes, shorter than it should have been. Because I know like years ago, it would definitely make me freeze for like a whole entire, I don't know, 5 years. What if the birds knock me? But now, like, it's only lasted maybe a month, so that's a progress for sure. Like from years down to months, I think that's pretty good. Hopefully, it will just keep progressing. That hopefully from months to weeks, weeks to days, days to just one day down to a few hours. Just keep going down that way. That my nervous system rebounds quite quickly. Hopefully, that's the aim anyway. But again, like being 41, heading to 42 soon, like in a few months' time, in what, 1, 2, 3, in 3 months' time, I am very aware that, I don't know, I quite like the fact that I'm heading towards death a lot faster now because I'm on the second half of my life. I am definitely have more past years than I do future years, I think, unless I live until I'm 90, 92, or something. That's like 50 years ahead. That means I'm not half of my, that means like I'm not even half yet. But I think like I'm only going to live until I'm 75 or 70 or something. So, that's only about 30 more years. So I'm definitely already half my life already gone and stuff. Lately, like when I cry and stuff, when my heart's kind of being activated, the cries that it wants to have is just like very typical of just human desires. Like, oh, I want to be loved. I want people to come and love me, and people who support me, who doesn't demand too much out of me. Just basic, very childlike request. And I guess like that's what happens when you are a child and you've been trying to fix stuff ever since you were a child. I remember like when I was a kid, I thought to myself that my parents were children for some reason. And I was like, primary school probably. And it was really stressing me out. Like I have to take care of these two children and I can't do it because I'm not an adult and I can't do anything. So in a way, like maybe I have been burnt out from that role of taking parentified child, which is probably quite common, especially if you're the oldest daughter, right? Um, so I guess like if even if I want to go into a relationship, that relationship cannot be just me being another parentified figure in the whole dynamic. Like I think that's why like the heart is kind of wanting to be the child in the relationship, which probably not healthy, and I definitely ignore like that's probably unfair if the other person don't know that. Like, but of course, like if I were being presented into with an opportunity with a person that I quite like, and think to myself, at least they have to know, I am under no circumstances will be the responsible one in the relationship. I don't know. I don't think it will happen mainly because I'm asking for unrealistic expectations. It's like, oh, what you want to be in a marriage? Sure. Transfer all of your assets and transfer at least $5 million cash into my bank account and have like buy at least a 3 bedroom, 2 bathroom apartment in Sydney and transfer that in the title name onto my name, all of it, and have all your bank account ready to pay the expenses of that particular property until you die at least. Yeah, and transfer half your other assets to me, which is so ridiculous, of course, like from the Western point of view. But apparently, that's how they do it these days, especially in East Asia still. So I'm like, okay, at least that's what they do. I'm like, I'll do that too. But I'm fully aware, like, especially, having a face that is fully pretty much disfigured and you know how the world works by the time you're 42. You're like, at least I think, like, in my head, to demand that you at least have to have beauty. And I'm like, I don't think I have beauty to the degree to which you can demand that. But you never know. Maybe my luck will turn, and that will be my position, and I'm actually can demand that, and I'll be like, "Oh my god, wow, so cool!" And also, like at least like $1 million every year as an allowance. And if I were to get pregnant, it would be a certain amount of money for each pregnancies, and then it'll be a different annuity amount for like for each child. So there's two different transactions there, like the pregnancy, because pregnancy doesn't mean like it's going to eventually become a child, right? Because something can happen, miscarriages and stuff. And a child doesn't mean that one pregnancy doesn't mean like it will be one child. So you can have one pregnancy and two children if it's a twin. So like, all those stuff. And I know like it sounds so transactional, like, relationship is not. No, marriage has always been transactional. Marriage is always about property, land, money, and always. So I think it changed in a direction because of World War II or something. Because yeah, so it's still recent. So up until now, like the whole history of marriage is always has been about money, property, land, taxes, all that thing. It has never been about love, because love is usually reserved for lovers, and usually that's what people have on the sides. Of course, like it's not being spoken about, but that's how society runs in almost all cultures, I think. Just different structure and different garment, so to speak, different clothing, I suppose, different way of presenting things. Also, the sky is really good right now. Let me show you. Isn't it good? I don't know if you can see it before, but yeah, it's really pretty. Um, you can't see me. Train is passing. And I have been having a lot of headaches lately, and I don't know why. What did I do to get this headache? Like I've been sleeping a lot, but not lying down a lot. Is that why? But I also been going out a lot. Like I went out like last Thursday for the last vlog to record for Friday, so for November vlogs basically. So and it exhausted me. I was out of the house for 7 hours, and that just took me out. I was basically a zombie the next day, and I realized, like, oh my god, my body is definitely not able to do this again. I'm in that space now where I have a little bit of my mental faculty back, sort of, but I don't have any of my physical faculty back whatsoever. It has diminished and it will not come back ever. So I'm being left with a brain but not a body. So I don't know what to do. Uh, like right now, I know like I can't complain at all because I'm aware like a lot of people have their life to go ahead with. The problem is this time around, I don't particularly have a huge desire to unalive myself. I don't have the huge desire. Logically, I do. Logically, meaning like, oh, I don't particularly want to do anything. I don't particularly want to be anyone. I don't like. I can't see myself being successful by any means. And I know like I'm probably a burden to the people that supporting me, even though they're doing it reluctantly, or out of duty. So logically, I'm thinking if I were to not be here, it would probably be a lot easier. Um, Logistically, it'll be a lot neater and tidier for everyone, like economically as well, like financially as well. And a decade ago, I definitely felt sincerely that I would definitely would like to unalive myself. I would like not to be here and have all the emotional suffering along with it and emotional sincerity along with it. The problem is right now, I don't have that emotional sincerity anymore. I don't have the emotional desire to do it anymore. My body is definitely still sick, but even though logically I know that's probably somehow the tidier and neater way to for everyone to move ahead, I don't really have that desire to unalive myself or to not to be here. Like I want not to be here, but I don't want to do it myself or out of violent intent or out of sadness or out of wanting to like desperately escape. I'm not sure if I'm explaining it properly. I just know, like, factually, yeah, me not existing probably help a lot of people, probably myself. But there is something like in my head now that is just like I don't particularly want to harm myself at all. I want to move forward, but I still don't know how to move forward. And because there's also that bit where I don't want to harm myself, that means like I can't abuse my body anymore by putting it in harm's way or by allowing it to go into workspaces, for example, that is going to abuse, mentally, emotionally, and physically myself for money. So there is that too, which is also a hurdle, right? Like because my young self would definitely just people please my way, fawn my way, trauma response my way, out of just trying to get or escape the situation I'm in. But if going that way means like I always have to come back to the collapse state where it's not working, where everything's get burnt out, where everything gets collapsed, where my existence just felt extremely always in crisis again and again, because being autistic means my nervous system is not designed the same as other people. It can't handle the same way other people handle it. Like, and the fact that it also definitely manifested as autoimmune condition is proof itself that it's not okay to keep going in that direction. That's why I came into this direction, trying to do digital creation, trying to do digital asset design assets and stuff. But at the same time, I also can't keep up with the progress that keep happening right now, like AI, like having to learn new technologies every single month probably. Like the industry is changing so fast, and I know like a lot of industries also like that, but that's also part of getting older, right? Like everything is just keep moving forward. Like even with my elderly friends, like my senior friends, like I can see why they are so behind. It's just not that they're not smart, it's just that the whole world is just moving at a pace that is so fast that unless you maybe on maybe like you're 16, 17, and you are on caffeine or like energy drinks and not sleeping, you probably can do it for about 2 years before your body started to develop chronic illnesses. Problem is, I think the speed of the world right now is designed for AI to learn better, but it's not designed for human to learn faster and better. So there is that. I feel like we're at I think the summary is that I don't know what I'm going to do, what I'm doing. I feel like disaster is pending, and I feel like I'm at the edge of disaster personally as well. But emotionally, I am intact. But physically, I know trauma response is just one news away, one trigger away, and I'll just be non functioning like for a good month. Like, so I know that how sensitive and vulnerable my system is, but I really don't know how to progress in life. I guess I'm just sharing this just because, if you're not really sure how to progress in life, I'm here with you. I'm 41, almost 42. I don't know what I'm doing. Of course, there's a lot of other people out there that knows what they're doing, or at least pretend that knows what they're doing and can help you. So if you want to listen to those people, please do. Like that, this is just not one of those channel, I suppose. Like I guess my creation is always about the process. It's about the process. It's not about the results itself, because the results is just one point in time. The process is like 99.99% of the time. And I think we rarely see any processes happening, like the mental processing of how you get to a point. which is probably unnecessary for some people. They just want to see result progress from A to B, which I that's how I operate in real life as well. If I were to work with somebody or work in a some in the corporation, I'll probably do that too. Like, because I don't want to be wasting time seeing someone else's processes. That would just take a lot of energy out of me. So just give me the point and the results. And I think that's how people perceive me in real life, is just to have a very watered down version of the information that I am willing to receive. Like there's not a lot of muffling going on, like when I receive a news or something from outside. And it's the same when I am also delivering a news to people in real life. It's usually very just bullet points, and there is not a lot of muffling like I do here on the internet. The internet is almost like a very opposite personality than I am in real life, which is probably how things works, in the creative industry. It's like you have your mirror personality self established in the creative process, and maybe outside of that your personality is quite the opposite, which is what's happening with me, I think. In real life I don't talk at all, but here you will think that I'm a yappy person, but that's because I'm a mute in real life. That's why the yappiness needs to be channeled somewhere. And I'm comfortable with camera because at least I know with camera it's recorded and you can replay it, so that if it's the memory in your head is wrong, you can always have a backup memory in the recording. Um yeah. Why does it keep going dark? I don't understand. Can I lock it? Oh no. Can I lock it? It doesn't want to lock. Exposure locked. Okay. uh Whatever image I had when I was a kid is definitely destroyed now. I used to be like, I wanted to be so cool. I wanted to have a lot of money. I want to travel around the world. I want to feel that I have autonomy over my life, freedom to make decisions over my life, and not being ordered around by anyone or anything at all. And I can have the freedom to buy anything I want, to travel anywhere I want, to, have the chance of making money and just for it to be delivered into my bank account without me asking. Um, of course, like from my own work, from my own, brain, as a result of that, not not because it's being subsidized by other people. That was the goal. Of course, now I kind of failed knowing that, and but it's okay. At least I gave it a go. I think I'm not regretting my decision, because if I didn't jump into this, even though it resulted in failure, massive failure, at least I knew that I gave it my best and it failed. So I don't have that, mindset of I'm wondering, oh, I probably could have done better. I probably could have been a millionaire if I, took off on my own. If I did it myself, if I pursued it, like, I could have done it better than these people. But now I know I couldn't. And that's an answer, and that's okay. And that kind of humbles you a lot, and it's okay to be humbled. I don't know. I don't know. Life is just going to keep kicking me out. I feel like I just am too bored repeating the same trauma loop again and again. Especially now, I'm in my 40s, I'm heading to my 50. It's definitely not the same world that I guess like the boomer generation live in. It's definitely not. Especially now, the boomer generation is like in their in the mid and late 70s. So, like, yeah, I think the older generations is in the late 70s, and the younger generations of boomers are probably around, yeah, just entering the 70s. So around 70 to 82, maybe now they are that age. But they're so out of touch with the real world, though. So out of touch. Sorry. I don't know. I don't know. Like, I think Gen Z is just. I feel like I'm stuck in the middle, but that's not anyone's fault. I feel like Gen Z is playing a very different game. They know like nothing is permanent. It's the opposite. Almost like reality is the opposite of boomers, but I think personality is quite similar. I think maybe. Um, yeah, like they know like nothing is permanent, so they just jump ship when they start not feeling good about it. Because like these days you can just be laid off at any given moment. You're not even going to be given like a month or something. It's like today suddenly you're like, okay, this is your last day, everything is locked. And that kind of gives you a perspective of like you shouldn't give work 100% of your energy and time and life. It shouldn't be taking away anything from your real life. Like you have to kind of find out what you are outside work, because you can come into work one day and all of your belonging will be put in a box and you're just being said, hey, no hard feelings. We just need to trim down the bottom line. We just need to give the shareholders a dividends this quarter. So you gotta go, even though you probably been there 25 years, 30 years. Capitalism is a very rude and efficient teacher for everyone. Just like when I was younger, I definitely like, oh, we have to give everything to the company. We have to work very hard. That's how we get promoted. That's how we can get goodwill out of people. We have to give everything. No, no longer think like that. No longer, and um, it's just work. You need to have other plans outside of work, and I think that's what I was lacking. I didn't have any guide outside, like in life. I didn't have any guide, so I kind of have to do life by myself, because I feel like anyone that comes into my orbit, I have this pressure to help rather than to receive help. And people that give help, usually it's not help, usually it's debt. They expect to for it to be paid back. And I should actually start implementing that as well. I should start, when I give help, I should expect to for it to be received. I should expect to receive some back. And I haven't really been implementing that quite consistently, just like patchily here and there. But usually that's because I implementing it with someone that is quite obviously a narcissistic usually, and it's quite easy to kind of see if they're not a reciprocal kind of person. So that's quite easy to see if you just throw something like, okay, I'll help you with this, and then you suddenly after about 2 or 3 weeks you're like, oh, can you help me with this, and they usually would avoid it and come up with an excuse. So the next time they come for you for like a help, I would just like avoid it. That's probably how I would approach that these days. Especially like it's very important dealing with boomers to have that attitude. Otherwise, you're just going to be used a lot. You definitely are going to be, your reputation is going to be smeared. Like that's just not avoidable if you go working with boomers, but you definitely can um, manage not to be exploited to some degree. I don't know how that sounds. Uh, will this ever be going away? I already have this for like almost half a year now. This cheek is starting to fill up too with all the dots. I'm gonna be like disfigured by next year, like all the covered. I guess it's maybe just my expectations that life just keeps getting worse, so it's not facing me at all. Like I'm on phase. Is this a depression? Is this a depressing video? I think it is, isn't it? A depressing video. I'm gonna put that in the title. Just a very depressive video. Only watch if you have the mental capacity for it. Um, yeah, but I kind of like spending time with you right now, like this. It's just very mellow, very relaxed. Or maybe, I don't know, is it relaxing for me? I'm not sure yet. But it's not, definitely no pressure whatsoever because, no one watches this. Like, no one watches my vlog either, but at least it's not like last year, it was like some videos can go to 1,000 views quite easily, 2,000 views. And this year, like, if I can reach like 300 views, it would be so lucky. Like, people lost interest as soon as I kind of learned not to always divulge everything online because it's not good for my mental health, apparently. I could, and also because I'd have a delay of 1 month because it's better for me to have that buffer of time. Because when it was in real time, I was already reactive and I was still in a trauma response. And reading the comment in real life about my real life situation in that moment was just too much. It wasn't helping at all. It was just like an added trauma layer. So I'm like, okay, I'll learn this. Not gonna do it. I guess like because this YouTube thing is a process rather than a, I don't have a goal in my head per se. My goal has always been monetization, always been like producing money with work, so that like all my creative content's always been like that. Even with the painting, it was like that from the initial get go. All creative contents are for monetization purposes, and I guess that's why outside the like the personal stuff, I'm not really that sensitive being criticized for my work in a lot of ways because it was never about validation or seeking validation for a good work or for a good content. It was always like, how much money can I bring for that content? Okay, I can lean into like a very depressive and triggering content, like, drilling down, doubling down on the depressive state of my brain, going into very dark places. I don't think I wanted to do that to people. And even though I can make maybe like increase my viewership, I feel I still have obligation and responsibility not to make other people's conditions mental space worse than it actually is, because I don't want to make my mental space worse from reading a comic book or from reading a storyline. Like sometimes I just shut it down and I just stop reading something that is making me really upset. And I think that's also my, I guess, my philosophy now as I'm older, that I do have some sort of obligation and some sort of duties not to influence people to the dark corners of their mind too much, not to push it too much. But at the same time, I also still want to present what's in my head as is. And so that's always a delicate balance in that. Like I want to, and even that, like even if I'm presenting it lightly, some people still think it's very dark. So I am fully aware I cannot disclose my mind fully. It would scare so many people. Because even when I'm just exposing like 5% at the top of the surface level of what's going on in my head, people get freaked out. Like, oh my God, you don't do that. Blah, blah, blah. Like, you know, like, no, dude, this is basically my daily life. This is just the way my brain talks every day. This is light. This is a good day like that. This is like a 9 out of 10 day, And people would go like, "Oh, it's so dark and intense, cheer up." And I'm like, "I am cheered up. I am happy today. It's just the way my brain works." I just feel like life is so bland. Even the suffering is bland. Like the suffering, the brand of suffering is the same. It's basically everyone working in this system that is not rewarding at all and killing their souls, killing their bodies, making their bodies basically going into illnesses. That is so unnecessary. I saw, trigger warning graphic, talk about death and stuff. So trigger warning. I saw on TikTok about this guy who was a student somewhere, like away from their parents, and he died from starvation because he didn't have enough money to buy food. And he already wrote down like where all his personal details, like what his name, what his uh, where his address is, where he work, no, where he goes to school, his parents' address, and also a request for anyone who finds his body to deliver his body back to his parents, which is like somewhere different from where he was living. And it was really heartbreaking to see that, to watch that video, because it's so unnecessary. He's still a boy, he was still in high school or something. And I've been there too. And I've been, oh my God, I'm gonna cry. No, 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 no. Um, I've been there where he was, I was like I didn't have any money to buy food at all. And in 2025, it's just the fact that some people can't eat because of money is so unnecessary. Even when my situation was also, it's like so unnecessary. It's like all the problems when it comes to money and capitalism is made up. It's made up basically. It reminds me of that lectures when I was still watching Jordan Peterson's lecture back in the days, maybe like 7 years ago. This is like part of his psychological series. So it was his university lectures. It wasn't like, the one that he did after he got famous. This is the one that when he was still a professor. So in one of those lecture, I remember like he was talking about the Kremlin War or something. So it's happening like in the USSR, like a famine man-made. So it's basically a man-made famine. So there is a region, like, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but this is just on the top of my head, where the Soviet government, I think, was there was an area where it was for production of wheat or production of food or grains or something. But the people who produce them are not allowed to touch the production or the wheat that they're growing. So it was specifically that region, the people are basically exploited to grow, but they're not allowed to take, the consequences for them is death. So it created a famine in area where specifically to grow food. So it was definitely man-made, first of all, but it got so bad that the central government had to order the local people not to eat their own kids. Usually, like, because the kids would die, the babies would die because of starvation, because, they don't have enough food going around. So what happened, I think the people start to eat the babies who died, and because there was restriction of not allowing people to eat what they have produced, basically the crop. So that was man-made as well. So I feel like that's just a very good, not metaphor, maybe a good example, not metaphor, because it happened, of what is also going on now. Like it's just nonsensical for anyone in the world to be starving unless like you don't know their existence and they're like in somewhere in the Sahara, like somewhere in the desert where there is no food, no people, no one knows where you are. Like okay, that makes sense, right? Like because there is no one around you and you're not part of like a commercial hub, like not part of the being surrounded by people, sure. Like that's a very isolated situations that can happen. In a jungle, maybe not, because a jungle, I assume, is beaming with a lot of life. You just have to make sure you don't get poisoned by eating the wrong thing or get bitten by crocodile or something. So that's a different problem altogether. But you probably definitely will survive if you're in a jungle, right? Because you will be teaming up with a lot of food around you. You just have to be brave enough to kill for it, to kill to eat. Um, But unless you're in a very isolated spaces, like the Rocky Mountains, where it's really difficult to find food, and isolated, there is no one around you to bring you food, or the desert, where you know what I'm talking about. Like you get the point. Hopefully, if you're part of like the modern civilization, I don't think it's necessary at all. Because I feel like the game of life is so fake. But I'm also a part of it. I'm part of the system and I don't know how to break out of it. I tried, but I can't. Result is like, oh, I'm being punched in the face. No. What do we do? I don't know. When I see people like still chasing that validation from other people, like, look, I've got iPhone 17. Look, I've got Prada, the latest. Look, I've got the latest shoes. Look, I've got like just got promoted. Look, I've got like a brand new house I paid off with myself. Like, sure, good for you. That's definitely something. Make sure feel like good about yourself, sure. So I'm not diminishing that kind of achievements from people. Like that definitely take a lot of strategization. So it's a lot of thinking, a lot of planning, a lot of like efforting, a lot of a lot of those things. So I'm not something that I'm not capable of doing apparently. So I definitely tip my head off for those accomplishments, for having your life in order enough to be able to accomplish that. But at the same time, I feel like those things are no longer valuable for me in a way that is different. Like I definitely still want, I definitely still want stabilization, like a stable housing situation. I want like a stable income coming in, like so that I can eat whatever I want. I want to be healthy for sure, because it doesn't matter if you have a house or have money if you don't have your health. That's definitely not something that I would enjoy. Been there, done that. Still doing it right now. There's something better or greater than that, like than chasing the branded things. Like they don't feel good as much anymore. Like if I come to money, I probably would get myself one branded bag just as to kind of make my eyes see that I purchased that bag. But it probably won't do as much. Like maybe after a week, the bag will just turn into another bag the same way a $20 Kmart bag would. So it would definitely not going to be treated as special. When I was in my 20s, I definitely thought differently, like in early 20s. I remember like buying my first quality bag, which was $400. I paid cash for, and I was treating that bag really well. I took that bag to Europe with me when I was traveling. I treated it quite well for a good 4 or 5 years. It was good quality. Back then, like we still have a lot of leather bags and like a lot of lamb bags, meaning like from a young lamb. It was very luxurious. They don't have it anymore now, especially in Australia and Sydney, because we don't want to exploit animals for leather goods and stuff. Even the luxuries brand now have cut down on that specific highly specified like luxurious type of leather. Um, because I think production value probably already gone up and stuff, and they're just sticking to lower grade level and basically tailoring it to the younger audience as if that it is the highest grade, which I feel like really bad for the young Gen Z. Now they're just buying cheap materials for the same amount as you know as if that it was made from luxurious materials, because if it's like plastic bag and you're paying $2,000 for it just because it has a label slap on top of it, I'm not buying it. I'm only buying stuff like luxurious good if it's actually luxurious material. Like I'm not buying a polyester bag for like 5 grand, for example. No, because it probably costs 20 dollars to make, and that's like probably the most expensive material polyester that you can get. So like my brain like is not, I guess it's not as easy to manipulate as when I was a kid. I guess like the branding doesn't do anything much to me. Also, like I don't have anyone to impress. So, and like maybe with the iPhone and branded phone, I'll probably consider it mainly because for vlogging and for recording camera wise, because those iPhones are really good quality wise and not as shaky as my regular phone that I can afford. Like this phone is only what, $300, so it's really cheap. It's the cheapest that I could get for like a large megapixels and also for an eSIM. So those were the two qualities that I was looking for, which is what it has to have an eSIM, and then it also have to have at least like I don't know, like 50 megapixels on the camera. Of course, like it doesn't really translate to anything because it doesn't have a lot of stabilization as I wish, because what I want is to for the camera not to be shaky as much, because I vlog outside a lot, like I vlog outdoors in Sydney. So I wanted something that is steady enough, just without any kind of gadgets, without any kind of gimbal. um, but yeah, I don't have 2 grands lying around, so I don't think I want to. And also with iPhone, it's like it always like keep changing every year. Like a new brand model comes out, it's like whatever you have suddenly become obsolete. Um, so it's always annoying, and you'll learn very fast, especially as you're growing up. More expensive doesn't mean it's better. And you also see like a lot of people are empty inside, so they're just trying to pursue anything like out on the outside for validation so that they can be perceived as they have the life together. But if you just peek inside, not even deep enough from the surface, you can see like they're not really together at all. They all are riddled with a lot of anxiety, a lot of uncertainties, a lot of inferiority complex, like me, like you probably. So they're not much different, just a lot more expensive. Uh, I kind of like this chat now. I kind of like talking on the balcony chat. It's kind of nice. I get some fresh air on the outside, and and I get some word vomit out for quota wise for today. Anyway, that's the ramble for today. Hopefully, it's okay. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, everyone.